Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you some gel printing that I did with prompts from Birgit Koopsen's challenge for September 2019 to gel print each day. And she's provided the prompts over on Instagram, and I'm just following along and doing the prompts that I think are interesting. So this is day number 2, and it's masking. Masking means to cover up a portion of something and put something over the top. So you might do that with a liquid frisket or something like that that's a rubbery product like rubber cement or something. Or you might do it with a piece of paper. In this case, I'm doing it with a Tyvek envelope that is from the post office. Tyvek is kind of a plasticky, weird stuff. I don't know exactly what it's made out of. Maybe it's a polyester. But I had heard somewhere that Tyvek was great for masking, and so I decided to try it out with this envelope that I cut up, and I made some random circular and squiggly shapes to try it out. I put down yellow, and then I put some masks on there, picked up the excess with a scrap paper, put down orange, put some masks on there, more masks, picked up the orange, put down red. Now I'm putting some masks on, and I'm going to pick up the excess red with my scrap paper. And I'll keep the scrap paper. They look pretty cool too. And then my final layer is purple, and I'm going to put the masks on there, pick up the excess, and then I will have what I believe to be a bunch of bright colors on a background. That's what should have happened. So then I'm removing all the masks, and there should be paint underneath each one. But what I discovered is that Tyvek actually picks up the paint too much. It should have been wet paint under there, and so I would have all these bright colored spots. It didn't work out quite the way I wanted. And I was like, it's okay, but it's not great. You know, maybe Tyvek's not as good as I thought. So I decided after I picked up this print, wondering what it would look like. It ended up kind of lavender because I didn't let everything dry as much as I should have. I was excited. I wanted to get it together, but I expected there to be much brighter colors on it. So I thought, well, maybe it's the paint. So I switched to golden open paint. Now, golden open paint means that it has a retarder in it that causes it not to dry as quickly. So it actually stays kind of sticky and wet for a long time. And I thought maybe since the Tyvek had pulled up the paint, that maybe if the paint remained wetter, that wouldn't happen and I would get brighter colors. So I'm doing the same process. I got the hands of yellow, then I went over it with the quinacridone magenta, I think, or maybe it's fuchsia, I'm not sure. And pulling up the excess, putting the masks over it. Now, the paper that I'm building up, the scratch paper, is looking pretty cool because I keep turning it so that I don't get it in the same spots and offsetting it a little bit as I'm picking up. And it actually turns out to be the one I like the best, just because it's got a bunch of layers of color on there and it looks pretty cool with these weird little masky shapes all over it. Which, of course, on the pickup paper, leave that they stay white. So it's pretty cool. I actually like it. So then I remove all the masks, and I'm getting the same thing. I can already tell that the paint is pulling up with the masks, even though I'm gentle. It should still be wet under there, and it is still wet under there. And what I should have done, listen to what I say, not what I do. Since this is golden open paint, I should have let it sit for like an hour. I should have just let it sit and dry on there. Because what is open paint? It's paint that stays open. It's still wet. It's still too wet to do this technique. As you can see, I was not having a good day with masking. So when I put the titanium white paint on there, of course it mixed with the blue and it obliterated a lot of stuff. Did I do it again to see if what would happen if I let the paint dry on there? No, I did not. I just picked up the rest of the paint with another layer of inexpensive paint and moved on. Moved on because I'm like, you know what? This is not working for me. Someday I'll try it again. I'll try Tyvek masks again and I'll see if I can get it to work, but not today. That's not this day, as they said in Return of the King. That's not this day. So this is just a cleanup, and it pulls up the rest of the stuff so that I can move on. So masking. Masking means to cover up something and put something over the top. So a lot of the stencils that you get from different companies are actually masks. If it's a piece of plastic that has holes cut into it that make a shape, that's a stencil. If it is a piece of plastic that has the negative space cut out of it, that's a mask. And this one, Twigs and Berries, I think it's called, from Stencil Girl, is definitely a mask. In fact, it would be super cool if I cut the frame off of it. Then it would really be mask-like. If I just trimmed the frame off of it. I should do that, but I've already put my hanger sticker on there with the number, and I just don't want to mess it up. So I'm using this mask stencil to show you, that a lot of stencils are masks. When you look at them, you'll figure it out. And this one, the focal image, is what's been covered up by the stencil. It's been masked. It has been masked. It has put his mask on and become masked. So, really loving that piece right there. I have plans for that. That's pretty cool. So that is masking for day 2 prompt from Birgit Koopsen. And I could have gone on and did more, but I was just like, meh, I'm just not into this right now. I don't feel like it. So for the next prompt, which happens to be day 3, it was lace. And lace has a lot of options. You could use thin lace and put it like in stripes. You could use sheet lace that's like, something that would be a lace overlay of something. I used what I had, and I had 3 things that I could try. One of them, and the first one that I used, is actually not lace, although it reminds me of lace stockings or fishnet stockings. It is netting from a bag of lemons, and I think it's cool looking. I'm doing some of these prints over the tops of some of the prints I did in the linear gel printing. I had some like scrappy prints that needed more layers when I did that. So that first one was that, which I think turned out really cool. Black over that kind of Naples yellow and orange. So I put the black paint down. I put the netting over the top. I pulled away the black in the middle of the holes, lifted that out, and then now I'm replacing color, which is pinks and reds and those type of colors. And then I'm going to pull away the netting, and I'm going to let that dry a little bit. And while I'm doing that, on my 6x6, I've got another print coming. This is kind of a random print with some polyester lace that is sewn into a rosette, and it's like my leftover paint that I was using. So I'm picking it up on my 6x6 while I let the other one dry. I like to work with 2 plates at the same time. I think it saves on paint because I can roll out my paint on the other plate. Also, I sometimes use the smaller plate as a palette to help me roll more smooth if I'm going to roll small sections on the other plate. So that turned out pretty cool. It's random. I'm not sure you can tell it's lace, but it's an interesting kind of grungy pattern. So then I put some copper on that side because I'm going to try a different piece of lace. I think this is called Brandenburg lace. It's kind of a crocheted lace. At least that's what I learned as a child, that is what that's called. So I'm just going to go with that. Not even going to look it up. I'm just going to go with that. So that's another cleanup over one of those linear prints that I had from the other day. So this one turned out, this one section turned out super cool, and that is Crusty Bits. That's the reason I isolated it for you. I had some other paint on there from before that came up with the print, and that's my favorite section of all of them that I did. Having that surprise crusty bit there in the paint just makes me happy. I love that. Hashtag crusty bits. So now I'm moving on. I've put some dark purple, and I'm going to put the Brandenburg lace on there. I'm going to put some of that polyester lace, but I'm cutting it off the rosette because the truth is I'm never going to use it in that form. Somebody gave that to me. I don't even know from whence it came, but this one turned out really cool, I thought. And that's over another one of those linear prints that I did the other day. That one too, but that's more kind of a cleanup print. But I liked the way they turned out. So there's the copper lace over a teal colored background. And then this one I've got the purple. I'm going to move the lace away and pick it up with some white. Probably should let it dry a little bit longer. It's not very dry right now. We've got humidity a little bit, so things aren't drying as fast as I'm used to. So that came up with some crusty bits too. It's got some of the black from the previous print, but it's got an interesting pattern on both sides. So then I decided to just work with my 6x6, and so I zoomed in a little bit. I'm using this bronze paint and the lace again. I mean the netting. Again, printing over a different print. And I've now got 3 layers on that, so it's really starting to look like dragon skin. I think it looks like dragon or lizard skin. It's cool. I like it. So then I'm putting some Naples yellow over the top. I put too much, and it didn't come out exactly as I intended, but it's still cool. Decided to pick it up with black on a piece of black because I had originally had that bronze paint on there. It was supposed to be like bronze chain link over another color, and it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted because I put too much of the Naples yellow paint. But it's still cool. And I'm going to pick up the excess with some titanium buff paint because there's a little bit left on the plate. That's kind of a grungy print, which we all like those. Switching to some turquoise or teal. I'm not really sure what happened to the teal print. I must have put something else on it. Oh, there it is. It's up there. Well, anyway, I'm back to the Brandenburg lace. I think I was trying to put something over the top of that purple piece because I didn't think it looked quite like it should. So I layered another layer over the top. But anyway, you get the idea. Doing some lace. I think I'm going to finish up with polyester lace again. Pretty sure. That should be coming pretty quickly. I've been trying to do each prompt for about 30 minutes, and that way I can put 3 of them into a 20-minute video. So I work on them for about 30 minutes each day. It's just for fun. It's gel printing is just fun. And I keep all these papers and I use them for various projects that you've seen on my channel, so you know that I do use them. That's what all the little flowers look like when you pick them up. But I ended up putting some white over the top and printing it again over the top of that, and it turned out much better. Yeah, there we go. So that's the polyester lace. So here you have the close-ups, and they look much better than the video, like I said before. Maybe I didn't, I don't know. I kind of like that multicolored one at the top the best out of the polyester lace. And then I like the one in the center with the Brandenburg lace that is actually just cleaning up over the top of the lace. So I thought it turned out good. The next prompt is water-soluble crayon. There's a lot of water-soluble crayon-like products out there from a lot of different companies. My favorite, and the one that I will absolutely 100% recommend beyond any other one that I've tried, is the Neocolor 2 from Caran d'Ache. You can find links to it in my store as well as probably below the video. It's just the best. So I'm starting out with that. And what I'm doing is I am dipping my crayon in my travel water bucket and then coloring it onto the plate. And this is my 6x6. I just decided to work with that for this today. And I'm switching colors, kind of blending the colors together. And I'm trying different papers. The first paper that I did, which came out as kind of a blue turquoise wash, which is very pretty, was on regular cheap printer paper, which is just does not like to absorb the water. So I thought, oh, I'll switch to cardstock and I'll make some cardstock backgrounds for cards. And the cardstock I picked, which is Nina Solar White, 80-pound cardstock, also blisters with the water. So I decided to switch again to mixed media paper. And this is the Canson mixed media paper. And for this technique, I think that it worked out well. I didn't use a watercolor paper, which might be the best choice, but all I have is 140-pound watercolor paper, and I didn't want to make heavy stock prints. I have no use for that heavy of a print. So I ended up using the mixed media paper for most of it. So I decided I'll try my distress crayons because these are a water-soluble crayon. And so I am trying them out, but they don't have as much pigment in them as the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2. There's a marked difference in the result I'm getting. They're very pale. Even though I'm getting them wet, I'm really scrubbing on the color as much as I can. They just don't carry very much pigment in them. And so they didn't work out as well. So I ended up switching back to the Neocolor 2. And distress crayons, they have their place, they have their purpose, but it's not for this. Once you get a little bit of water on them, then they just dilute out and don't have much color, don't have much punch. I think I lost that print. That one's actually kind of cool. I didn't find it in my collection, I don't think. So it must have been on the back of something else. But switching back to the Neocolors, and you can even see on the plate they have a lot more color to them. And it's a wet process. It's a soggy process, and it warps the papers if you don't use the right kind of paper because of the water content. That one's pretty cool too. So these 6x6 stencils that I'm using for the crayons are all from Stencil Girl products. I think I used 4 different stencils, maybe 3 different stencils, I guess. This one's kind of a mid-century modern looking designs, and that one right there, once it's dried down, is really cool. It's very watery looking, and I like the way that one turned out. So I hope you've enjoyed this video with the gel printing prompts, and if you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment or question below, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on that notification bell so that you know when there's new videos, and of course you can share and pin this on Pinterest if you'd like to in your gel printing folder for later. That is it for me for today. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.